Hi, friends. Time for some pillow talk. Oh, yeah. You know, again, it's one of these mornings where I just wake up with these things on my mind. It's like have this whole harikata worked out in there. It just bubbles the surface. So it's time for some serious pillow talk. Hey, serious pillow talk. Let's see, it's quite a few people here. Hey, oh, okay, we'll just start here. Okay, so the topic is your guru blocking you from realizing Krishna? Okay. It's a very serious, serious conversation here, believe it. A very unserious situation. Need to relax before you listen to this. Yeah. So it's if people can understand uh, this conception, this idea, um, then they can find or realize Krishna. We'll get into how that's done. Yeah, and you'll actually understand the real message of the confidential message of the Bhagavatam. See, the confidential message of the Bhagavatam is how to remove the obstacles, and especially the final obstacle, so that you can realize Krishna, God. Yeah. And one of these major obstacles, the final ones, is the false Acharya, the false prophet, the false guru. Okay? So the whole purpose of a guru is to remove all the obstacles in our line to Vrindavan, so you can realize Krishna Vrindavan. Okay? So Krishna, when one is really, really, really ready, Krishna destroys the obstacles um, in Vrindavan so that people can stay in that intimacy and that closeness with the Supreme Lord in his form as Krishna. Oh, good, we got one person. Okay. Yeah. So uh, in the Bhagavatam, we'll take a story. There's quite a few stories that illustrate the same idea, the same conception. And you need the right conception to go beyond the mundane plane of existence into the spiritual realm. Okay. So the wives of the Brahmins had the gurus, but they were more of the Brahmin types, and they were actually Brahmanas, which actually most gurus usually at best really are in our Vaishnava book. Yeah, like maybe a good Brahmin, but that wasn't good enough. See, I always preach that good is not good enough in spiritual life. Ultimately, it may be good for a while, you know, like people might be happy following the rules and regulations, varnashram dharma for a while, but ultimately, if they want the real Krishna, he's beyond the mode of goodness. Yeah. So anyway, the story goes in 10th canto. Um, these Brahmins were doing pujas and following the path of varnashram dharma and uh, regulative devotional service and fire sacrifices, things like that. And and so the wives uh, they heard about Krishna, and they were just kind of like, they weren't anything special, but they heard about Krishna, and they were kind of a certain variety of persons that would be open for the right circumstance to um, actually realize this Krishna. So anyway, the Lord fulfilled their desire by setting up a pastime. Okay? And this pastime is very relevant for now. So first, Krishna says, go beg some food, told the cowherd boys, who are his intimate associates, ecstatic as intimate associates. Uh, go beg some food from those Brahmins. He didn't say go first to the wives. He wanted to teach the world something. So go beg some food from those Brahmins and see what they say. And so they do. They go over to the Brahmins and say, oh, earthly gods. Because the Brahmins are usually in the mode of goodness, they're the gods of the earth. Okay? Right now, it's like the Asuras are coming out to be the gods for now. They want to take over in the world, the Asuras. Um, see, the demons or the demigods usually rule the world. So right now, the demons are more strong. So, earthly gods, please give us some food for Krishna. Please do some service for Krishna. They asked on behalf of Krishna so they could bestow boons on them. So, the Brahmin said, no, we don't want to serve Krishna that way. No. We don't want to serve Krishna. We're not going to, we don't believe in your God. We don't believe in you. You guys are just in forced attire, and we're Brahmins and we're serving God our way. Okay, so anyway, they wouldn't give any food. They wouldn't serve Krishna through the order of the cowherd boys. The cowherd boys were actually more advanced than these Brahmins, but these Brahmins didn't understand that. Okay, so they go back to Krishna and say, "Hey, Krishna, these Brahmins won't give us any service. They won't give us any food for you. Okay? They won't give you an offering through us." And so Krishna says, "Yeah, I knew that, but go to their wives and ask them for some service. Yeah, ask them that we want some food and see what they say." And so they do. And they go over to the wives and they say, "Oh, Krishna's hungry. Um, he'd like some service of giving some food. Would you do that?" And they say, "Oh yeah, sure, all of them." And so they get ready. They start cooking and making some food preparations for Krishna. And they tell their husbands. The husbands say, no, you can't serve those cowherd boys. They got envious, jealous. No, don't go over there. We forbid you. Okay? So they didn't listen to them. They went anyway. They went. They made the food. They went to the um, to the cowherd boys and went to see Krishna, because it's actually the real intimate devotees. See, the moral of the story is the real intimate devotees who engage us in the loving service of the Lord, the transcendentally loving service of the Lord. It's not good enough for a Brahmin. That's why I see in Vaishnavism practically, usually the best you got there as a guru, even though they say that they're representative of Krishna. They're just more Brahminical at best. Yeah. And still, if you have to know the real path, to know the real Bhagavatam, you have to hear it from the real guru. Because most of the gurus I've seen in Vaishnavism, they're like these, maybe a good Brahmin at best, and they fit more in the category of those Brahmins that were blocking the road still. Maybe they can help you into the mode of goodness, but they can't take you into transcendental consciousness. It's only the intimate, ecstatic devotees that can, that have a genuine, intimate relationship with Krishna. So these, so they go and serve Krishna by giving food, and they didn't listen to their Brahmin gurus and husbands. And so anyway, very quickly, they attained love of God. By serving the transcendental manifestation of the Lord, through his real intimate representatives, even though they were in forced attire. So can you see the moral of the story? This is Bhagavatam. If this is explained to you by a bona fide representative of Krishna on the intimate transcendental level, then you can get through this obstacle, because most persons that are on their way to realizing Krishna are stuck at that stage. And I say stuck is if you're feeling like, oh, it's okay having a Brahmin guru, that's okay with me, I don't care. You don't have enough spiritual greed. But if you're wondering why you're not realizing a deeper understanding of Krishna, see, a deeper understanding of Krishna, and you're thinking and you're praying to the Lord, what's wrong? Why am I not getting this deeper understanding? Then Krishna will eventually send you a bona fide representative. I got to get some water. It's always like this. Water. All right. Uh, um, so if you're crying out and you're in that situation and your guru, your spiritual master, is really nothing but a good Brahmin still, at best, as I say, at best, or even a liberated soul, but not liberated in the level of intimacy with Krishna of Vrindavan, then, and you're crying out, then eventually the Lord will put you in contact with his real intimate associate. Okay? And then that'll get you through this final obstacle of the false Acharya. See, the false Acharya represents the Putana obstacle. Putana obstacle and the Trinavarta obstacle, the whirlwind speculation. Putana is the false representative of Vrindavan. She just looked like it, see? She just looked like a family member of Vrindavan, but really wasn't. She had to be purified more. Yeah, so there's other stories too that illustrate the same thing. Yeah. Otherwise, it's like this. Here's another way to look at this. If you want to realize Krishna, you can only do that with devotion. Ultimately, those cowherd boys bestowed devotion upon the wives of the Brahmins so that they could realize Krishna like they realized Krishna, because they had real, pure, intimate love of God. See, this rasa, this rasic nature. So you get the rasic nature from a rasic devotee. It's pretty simple. And it's just like um, if you're a Vaishnava and you look at, well, was Prabhupada ecstatic devotee? Was he rasic? Yeah, did he have pure love of God? People usually, anybody will say, yeah, of course. Well, did his guru have pure love of God? People say, yeah, of course. Did Bhakti Vinod have pure love of God? Yeah, of course. See? So that's the real line. And that's why Bhakti Siddhanta called it the Shiksha line. Shiksha means the instructing guru line. Because you could have in the line a mundane guru who's like only made it to the level of maybe being a good Brahmin, following the Varnashram Dharma rules and regulations. But every guru in our line that was accepted by Bhakti Siddhanta and Prabhupada too, and any bona fide guru, is got um, um, the quality of love of Krishna, the genuine, pure love of Krishna, rati, ras, transcendental mellows, devotion, pure devotion. These are different words for the same thing, basically. Spontaneous love of God. So that's the real line. See? Now, the false line still is you may have been initiated by Prabhupada, who has ecstatic love of God, but it hasn't developed in you. See? So, and you go on to become a guru by votes or some other method other than having mature love of Krishna. Okay? So you're not really representing the real line or the real current. The real current is this Bhaktilata B spark. This is the spark of life. The spark of life for the second birth. You must be born again so that you can realize the kingdom. You can enter the kingdom. This born again means the awakening of devotion, pure love of God in your heart. See, by the mercy of a bona fide representative. So most of the Vaishnavas in our line, from Bhakti Vinod to Bhakti Siddhanta and Prabhupada, were not ready to be ignited. They were only qualified for Vaidhi ignition. You know, it's just, okay, follow these rules, regulations, become a Brahmin. Then at a certain point, the then you'll get this spark from a spiritual master who is actually in the real line. See, and that's where, you know, this is a Shiksha line. It may come from a grand disciple, like it's coming here. See, because uh, the main thing is, where's the spark? Even though it comes, you know, a lot of people think, well, it's got to come through a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. Well, it may come from a grand disciple, or even somewhere else. But there'll be symptoms. There'll be symptoms of this intimacy with Krishna, and they'll teach the real confidential conceptions of the Bhagavatam and all the devotional literatures, especially if they, you know, that's their life and soul, like it is here. Yeah. So really, that's really the essence. So many stories of Bhagavatam illustrate this same point. Bali Maharaj also had a spiritual master who was in the way of moving on into realizing God. And so Vamanadev came as this dwarf Brahmin, but he was more than that. He was a Shuddha personality, transcendental personality. And Bali Maharaj served him. See, even though his guru even said, don't serve him, the spiritual master said, don't serve. So don't serve Vamanadev. I'll curse you if you do it. But see, Bali Maharaj had the advantage, like people have the advantage here. He was instructed by a transcendental personality, his grandfather, Prahlad Maharaj. His grandfather gave him these confidential instructions, just like I'm giving the devotees of Prabhupada here, or grand disciples of Prabhupada here. And if you understand these real instructions of the Bhagavatam, the confidential instructions and examples and histories of the Bhagavatam, you can get through this obstacle. Because the same situation is here. The same type of intimate associate of the Lord is here, and teaching the real conception, confidential conception of the Bhagavatam that most persons' gurus cannot teach because they're not that kind of guru. They're not rasic. They're not tasting the transcendental mellows of love of Krishna. So we're here to remove the final obstacle, if you understand this. And if you're really greedy to realize Krishna, you really want to realize Krishna, then you'll listen to this understanding and then go compare it with your gurus and your teachers out there. Yeah. And see what makes more sense. Who's giving you the real Bhagavatam? If they're not realized Krishna on the level of Vrindavan Bhav, see, devotion, Vrindavan devotion, they cannot tell you this. See, it's by the action of the book Bhagavat and the devotee Bhagavat, absorbed in the mellows of devotion, that this spark, this bhakti, is ignites Krishna in your heart, awakens Krishna, that dormant, sleeping giant in there. Okay. So see that the story of Bali Maharaj illustrates the same thing. Daksha versus Shiva illustrates the same thing. Daksha was a Brahmin. He was in the way of his followers, all the millions of demigods, from realizing God, Krishna, on the transcendental platform, because he would just destroy faith of these Brahmanas and himself. He didn't have faith in Shiva, who could give them the transcendental blessing. So he give that spark. So there was a big battle and everything, and eventually that obstacle was removed for him and the demigods. He became submissive to the real representative bhakti, which was Shiva in that case. See, over and over again, the Bhagavatam's teaching this, how to remove this obstacle so that people can realize this intimate relationship with God. See, that's realizing Krishna. You have to have this spark, this divine ecstatic spark of attachment, transcendental attachment to Krishna. Okay, let's see. We got some questions here. Or comments. Let's see. Oops. Amy says, "Oh, you know what? I can't get to it. Let's see if I." Unfortunately, I can't read your comments there, Amy. These are too small this way. This way they don't show up. Or do they? Let's see. Do it like this. Ah, here we go. Amy says, if you wholeheartedly ask Krishna for anything, he will give it to you, including asking for truth. I asked for this, and he gave me Srila Gaur Haridas. Yeah, I mean, that's really the bottom line. And the same thing, even the person who wrote the Bhagavatam was in the same kind of situation. Not only did he follow Varnashram Dharma, but he taught it. It was Veda Vyas. Veda Vyas was dissatisfied after writing all these teachings about, Varnashram Dharma and how to develop one's God consciousness. But it was still on the material platform of goodness. See, teaching rules, regulations in Varnashram Dharma. And he even wrote about liberation. And still in his heart was a little bit unsatisfied. And so he was also, praying. And what happened? Who came to teach him? An ecstatic, intimate associate. See, Narada Muni is known to have that transcendental spark. He just, you can read so many instances. He's going through the universe, free because of devotion. He's free. And he sometimes laughs, sometimes cries when he chants Krishna's name or Narayan's name or any particular name of God he loves. Yeah, any any incarnation that he loves, and so the ecstatic, intimate associate came to help Veda Vyas understand why he was feeling incomplete. And so he did. He says, okay, write more of the confidential pastimes of the Lord in the form of stories. That's what you're hearing here. And I'm not just telling you, like reading the external idea of the Bhagavatam or these verses and say, okay, let's move on. You're going into the deep depth of the meanings of these verses, which was the point of Narada's teaching to Veda. He said, teach the truth in the form of these stories. See, these stories are codes for the deepest conception of Krishna consciousness, of how to understand God in a very deep, deep, deep way. See, they're codes, but only those who are really qualified, very intimate associates with Lord Chaitanya and Radha and Krishna actually can break those codes. See, break the code and give the coupon. See, the coupon to people in general. Yeah. See, and so that they can win the lottery. It's like, get the winning ticket. See, and so it's time to reveal the confidential message of Bhagavatam. See, Prabhupada knew it. All Bhakti Siddhanta knew it. Bhakti Vinod knew it, but they didn't preach it more elaborately. They just wrote it in their books. So I left that work for us. See, so by the action of those books that they've written and a living Bhagavat, see, that actually you can see with your own eyes and hear with your own ears, that their conceptions they teach are deeper than any conceptions these unrealized gurus and spiritual masters are teaching. And you can see with your own eyes that their ecstatic countenance, their ecstatic mood is deeper than any of those spiritual masters or gurus who are claiming to represent Krishna. Isn't that the way to find out where's the authentic representative? Where's, as opposed to the inauthentic representative, still caught by the Putana obstacle, being a false representative of Vrindavan. See, where is the original, the real representative, and not the replica? See, that's why all through this revelation and realization, you got to get through the real. You get the real Krishna from a real devotee of Krishna. See, real, substantial. So, replying to Amy Rose, how did you know Krishna before meeting CHD to be able to ask Krishna for the truth? It's an interesting question. Let's see. Amy says, oh yeah, let's see what she answers. She'll probably start answering. Or did she? This is what Jesus did, Amy says. Teach people by way of parables and stories. It's the same way we teach children, through stories. It's a message. And this is the way for people to understand it. See, this is, Amy, this is why I really, I'm amazed. I'm amazed. You're saying exactly what Narada Muni instructed Veda Vyas. He told Veda Vyas, listen, give the message now of Bhagavatam in the form of stories. See, so, and you could say parables too, which we unlock. See, at a certain point, you don't just see, you need these stories unlocked by the person who has devotion. They understand the deep purport of the Bhagavatam. That's what we're teaching here. This is the order Prabhupada and the blessing of Krishna. In 1996, I was given this instruction. So Amy says, I didn't know Krishna. I learned how the law of attraction works. I called Krishna the universe. Yeah. See, yeah. People, matter of fact, you want to know who a devotee is. Amy is a good illustration of Krishna's teaching to Uddhava. So Uddhava asked him, who are your real devotees? Because I don't, even through the Vedic literature, I'm not really clear about that. So instruct me who is a real devotee. So a real devotee, Krishna says, my real devotees, they may not know exactly who I am and what I am, but if they worship me with pure heart, the pure love of God, see that with a pure heart, then they're the best of my devotees. So, Amy was like that. She saw God, didn't know exactly who he was and what he was or how he existed. See, this is Bhagavatam, she's an example of Bhagavatam example. Yeah, but she worshiped Krishna as the form of the universe. Yeah, And so Krishna accepted that and led her here so that she can understand more exactly how he exists and who he is and all that. So Madhumangal says, yes, the elephant also called out this way, and Vishnu came running. Um, well, actually, the elephant was a little different situation. The elephant obviously went um, um, through a bona fide guru in a previous life because he had a mantra given by the guru, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So he remembered that before he was fighting on his own strength. Then he realized Krishna gave him the intelligence. Oh, just call out the Lord with your mantra that you were given in the past life. And he did. See, so it's the same thing, but he just remembered his mantra that he got from his guru in a previous life. And because he was already initiated in the previous life, Krishna came. He heard his call. Just like now. So you got to go through this in some life. Like if in this life you're calling out to Krishna, he may give you the real guru to give you the transcendentally charged mantras which awaken your love of God. Then when you call the Lord, he comes. See? So right now he's calling the Lord. This is the real process we're teaching here. Is now the Lord is you're calling the Lord sincerely. Oh, and then this person really wants to realize me. Okay, then first I have to send them to my guru for initiation. Either Shiksha Diksha. We don't have to give any formal initiation. You just come here and listen. Get the mantra in your ear every day. You know, the real mantra, the ecstatic one, man, to wake up the spark in you, give you that Bhakti Lata Bij spark, man. You know, that's how it works. It's very simple. See, simple. Yeah. So first you cry out, and then Krishna gives you the bona fide guru. See, and then he's like the maid, the what do you call it, the midwife, and then that spiritual spark in them, their word ignites this love of Krishna, awakening of Krishna, the Christ in you. See, and and then you start to cry. See, just like because you're being born again, it's like a spiritual birth. You also start to cry, but these tears are wonderful. So Johann says, "Ah, I can't read that, Johann." Okay, yeah. So that's the essence, man. You know, it's pretty simple, isn't it? When you hear it explained correctly. So anybody who will listen to this instruction and intelligently apply it, you know, you can get through. You can realize Krishna in this life because this clarification of these instructions of the confidential truth of the Bhagavatam are being revealed here. And as far as I see, only here. Hmm. I can't. For it here. Krishna uses Srila Gaur Das tell the message to the people. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's just like Jesus. He was like kind of like the book Bhagavat. He was teaching people parables, just like, or you could say like Prabhupada. He's writing the parables down. Parables are these stories, but nobody understands them. He understands them. Jesus understood them, but they have to be explained. See? So you understand the purpose of the story, the conception that the story is illustrating. So you notice you're hearing these stories translated into words. See? So the words were translated. So It's like this. Narada tells Vedavyas, okay, people in general cannot understand the conceptions. See, these conceptions. So put them in a form of stories, see, which he did. And at the proper time, you meet the devotee Bhagavat. See, that's the formula. You follow the formula. Ultimately, you get realizing Krishna. Okay? So you put them in the form of stories because they can't understand the real conceptions yet. And at a certain point, somebody will extract the message of those stories and tell it to you, tell you the story. See? If people are hearing the story. Those who hear this story and are attracted, you'll realize Krishna because now we unpack the message from the story for those who are eager to hear it. Unexpected visitor. Ivo came along from Belgium. Adrenius. Yeah. So I hope that makes things understandable. I mean, this is really great. This is actually a really great talk. You know, a lot of times when I just wake up, the Lord puts this on my heart, and He says, I can't until I just talk about it. I can't get it off my mind. This is just pushing me to uh, to reveal these things, talk about these things. This will remove the final obstacle for those who really want to realize Krishna in this life. They come here, you'll probably realize Krishna. Hare Krishna. Okay, so I'm going to get up and I think we're going to do another Sadhu Sangha program. So I'm going to get up now. We'll end this and look for I think in about 5 or 10 minutes, I'll start another live and then we'll chant. Move on. Yeah, thank you guys for making some beautiful comments here too. Hare Krishna.